up, everybody? My name is Amy, and this is the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. Hello, everyone. Experiencing a little technical difficulty there. Welcome to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. My name is Amy. Welcome to my show. I hope everyone has had a better day than I have had. It decided to turn freezing rip cold again here in Arkansas, and it has been pouring down rain all day long. Hey, Anno, how are you? Before I get started on the subject, the case in hand that I'm going to be talking about, I do have a few updates on some cases. In the case of the Idaho 4, the owner of the 1122 King Road residence voluntarily donated the house to the University of Idaho to do with it whatever they pleased. And the university has decided that they are going to bulldoze the house down. They don't want to, continue having it stand there, like a statue and a monument to, the devastating, grisly, horrid, murders that took place there and took the lives of 4 of their beautiful students, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. The university intends to tear it down, and they are also going to be building they haven't decided yet what they will do with that piece of property. The university is going to be offering 4 scholarships, their names, which is, to come. And they are going to be building a memorial garden, just a place of peace and beauty, somewhere there on the grounds of the University of Idaho. They don't know where yet, but whatever they decide to do with the property, once they bulldoze the house down, then that's not yet been determined. But they have said that they will be bulldozing the house down by the end of this semester. So I guess when summer break comes, they will be bulldozing it down, and it will no longer be standing there as such an eyesore and grisly reminder of the horrible thing that happened there. I mean, I think it's the best thing that could happen. Apparently, the owner of the home cares more about the lives of these, 4 people who were lost than he does money. So, and that's, a great thing. And so he wasn't going to, try to clean it up and re-rent it out or anything. He just donated it to the school to let them do with it as they saw fit. And I mean, I think that's a wonderful thing. So there's no new updates in the case or anything like that. Just the gag order still stands, and you got Ashley Banfield out here, just scrambling for stuff to commentate on and do her little news show on every night, and all these anonymous sources and people close to the investigation, which is, hey, it matters, how are you, which is a bunch of bull crap. One of the things that she was reporting on that the sources close to the investigation had said was stuff that I was talking about a month ago. So I don't know who her sources are, but she's just scrambling for anything she can now to talk about the case. And with the gag order in place, that there's nothing much to talk about until what, June is it, I believe, that is the next hearing. So but also another case that I reported on in December that happened here in Arkansas, and it's the case of Blue Rowland and his sister Taylor Rowland. Blue Rowland was found buried under his mother and boyfriend's house. The boy's boyfriend, Nathan Bridges, trigger warning, drowned the little boy in the toilet and killed him and buried him under the house. He had also, when they found the sister, his older sister, Taylor, she had severe burns to her head, and she was sent to a Memphis hospital to be treated, and just a horrific situation. And there has been a pretrial motion set for March the 8th, and then a trial date has been set for April the 3rd. I have every intention to go to Lee County to cover the case live from the courthouse. I don't know what the rules or anything like that will be as far as whether or not we'll be able to, film from inside the courtroom or anything like that. But I am going to have every intention of doing my best to go and cover the trial from there live. It's about a 3-hour drive from me. So, but yeah, it's just a horrible, horrific case, and, another case of parents killing their children. And, this is just, this whole mess with these parents killing their children has just gotten out of control. Hi, Remain Calm. How are you? I've been watching it go on since the 90s, but, it is literally at an all-time high right now. It's just every time we turn around, a child has gone missing, and then it turns out, that the parents have done something to them. So, speaking of which, we did finally get some good news in a missing child case today. The little boy that was the missing toddler down in Florida that had been missing since yesterday was found this morning by a volunteer searcher, and he is safe and unharmed other than some scratches and some bug bites. But the little boy survived being out there in the woods and stickers and briars and whatnot. And by the grace of God, a man decided not to go fishing, that it was more important for him to stay and help look for that baby, and he found him. So just tickled to death, for the little boy, for his parents. I mean, we can't always jump to conclusions, the minute a child is reported missing, because, things do happen, accidents do happen, we fall asleep, watching TV or what, doze off, and these kids can, get away from us in a heartbeat. So you made homemade spaghetti. That sounds good. I can't really eat a whole lot of nothing right now. I've been really sick to my stomach, and I didn't hear anything back from my doctor, so I'm assuming either she hasn't gotten my blood work back yet, or it was okay. So I don't know, but if she says my blood work's okay, then we're still going to have to get to the bottom of whatever's going on, because I'm still having a lot of problems with being, really dizzy and stuff. But so let's get into the case that at hand. This is a case that I reported on a year ago, and it happened on September the 16th of 2021. 22-year-old mother in Michigan. Her name is Justine Johnson. She was a heroin addict and a cocaine addict, and she had been up as she claimed, that she had been up for 2 weeks, no sleep, and she was suffering from heroin withdrawals. And she stabbed her little 3-year-old daughter, Sutton Mosser, who had just turned 3 years old 2 days prior. Okay, go ahead. Little Sutton had just turned 3 years old 2 days prior. So on September the 14th, she turned 3 years old, and Justine was going through heroin withdrawal, and so she was doing cocaine. And heroin is a drug that I have never touched. I've, heard a lot about it and whatnot. Known of a lot of heroin addicts. My favorite musicians are all heroin addicts, or were all heroin addicts. But it's something that I never personally have ever touched, and, never knew much about the effects of it. So when I reported on this case, I talked about the case, but I also talked about Nikki Sixx, who is the founding member and bass player for Motley Crue, as well as the band 6am. And, Nikki went through heroin and cocaine addiction, as well as alcohol, abuse and addiction and whatnot. And he wrote a book back in the mid 2000s that were from the diaries that he kept, the journals that he kept. And the book is called The Heroin Diaries, A Year in the Life of a Shattered Rock Star, 1986 to 1987, which was they were right in the height of Motley Crue's career. But I have linked the video that I did in the description box, talking, about this case of Justine Johnson, and talking about, Nicky and his whole heroin addiction. But, that was all I had knowledge of about what the effects of, heroin and cocaine, especially mixing the two, does to you. And, yeah, he died twice. Actually, he OD'd and died twice. That's where the song Kickstart My Heart comes from. But, in the books, Nicky talks about all of the paranoia and stuff that he suffered from, and, hallucinations, and thinking that people were in his house and there were little green men and voices and, and all kinds of stuff. He spent a lot of time in his closet in his mansion in Van Nuys. And, but apparently Justine was suffering from heroin withdrawals. So that particular night of September the 16th, she was in the bathroom doing lines of cocaine. Her younger brother caught her in the bathroom, and he said something to her, and she said, "Mind your own fucking business." And he left and went to the beach with some friends, and the older brother of Justine's, he was at work. He had left around 2:30 that afternoon to go to work. So no one was home but Justine and little Sutton. I don't know where the mother was. Justine had her own apartment, but she had been staying at her mom's apartment because, a drug addict, you can't take care of a little 3-year-old child. So she had been staying at her mother's apartment, and the information release, never has said where her mother was that night. But so sometime after the younger brother left to go to the beach, which was around 6:30 or so, apparently Justine and Sutton was probably watching SpongeBob SquarePants on TV, like, so many kids do. And Justine claimed that the people of Bikini Bottom were telling her that she had to kill her child or they would kill her. That is what she told a CPS worker after she was arrested. And she was, very afraid. Like I said, she was suffering, from heroin withdrawal. She was high on cocaine. She hadn't slept in 2 weeks, and she was hallucinating. And voices were coming from the TV and telling her that if, she didn't take the life of her daughter, that they were going to take her life. And so she did. she brutally stabbed her little 3-year-old girl to death, and then put her bloody clothes and wrapped her up in a blanket, put her in a trash bag, and put her outside in the garbage. And then she apparently went to her own apartment where she claimed that she was going to take her own life. And then, for some reason didn't, or whatever. And then she was arrested when she was found wandering her way back home to her mother's apartment. Yeah, it's crazy story. But the younger brother came home and from the beach around 10 o'clock, and he didn't see Justine or Sutton when he came home. And then the older brother came home from work and was like, where's Justine and Sutton at? And they start looking around the house, and they go outside, and again, trigger warning, they see a little foot sticking out of a trash bag in their garbage can. And they approached it, and it was the body of their little niece, Sutton. And so they called the police and everything, and then the police found Justine, wandering back home. And that's when, she told the CPS worker that she couldn't remember exactly what all she had done, or what all had happened, but that the voices in the TV were, and the people of Bikini Bottom were telling her to take her child's life, or that they would take hers. But so anyway, on February the 13th this month, she decided to plead guilty during a hearing that was being held in her case. Her attorney had filed motions to suppress her statements to the CPS worker, and where she, admitted to what she had done and everything. Her attorney had filed a motion to suppress that statement and everything because, she had not been Mirandized. So, yeah, she knew. It's like the voices were telling her what to do, and she just did it. But anyway, the judge, and there were some other motions that her attorney had filed. And anyway, it was, during this hearing on February the 13th that the judge was ruling on those motions. And the judge did rule to, have that suppressed, did rule in her favor. And the prosecution, didn't object to it or anything. And then during, I guess during a recess or something, she, in a private conversation between her and her attorney, she told her attorney that she wanted to plead guilty. And so she decided to, her attorney announced to the judge that against my, against my advice, my client wishes to plead guilty. And, the judge, asked her, do you look, you don't have to make a plea right now. And she said, no, I want to plead guilty. And, the judge even, he's just like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Are you sure, what you're doing? Are you making this plea of guilty of your own free will? No one is telling you to do this. And she said, yes, I want to plead guilty. I feel this is in my best interest to plead guilty. And yeah, Nano, exactly. And so the judge told her, he went through everything, very carefully to explain to her that, first degree felony murder in Michigan carries a mandatory life sentence with no possibility of parole. That's a mandatory life without parole sentence. And she said, yes, I understand. And she also had a first degree, I believe it was child endangerment or something like that, and which also carries a life sentence. And she said, yes, I understand. And then so the judge accepted her guilty plea, and then he said that he wouldn't be sentencing her until April or so. And she got upset, and it's like, can we do this anytime sooner? And so he is going to sentence her on March the 27th. And she's like, okay, yes, great. So it sounds to me like, she knows what she did. She's had over a year now to sober up and realize her wrongdoings. And, she's willing to take responsibility for what she's done, instead of, dragging out, a trial, and putting her family through a trial, and her brothers through the horror of reliving the nightmare of finding, their little niece like that, and sparing the lives of 12 plus jurors, not to see the horrifying, crime scene photos and autopsy photos and stuff that I can only imagine, or would leave, I know they'd leave me with nightmares. Just thinking about it is horrifying without seeing it. It's one thing to see crime scene photos of adults, but to see gruesome crime scene photos of children, it's not an image you're going to get out of your head ever. It's, awful. But yeah, I mean, I guess she, for once in somebody's life, she has sobered up. She's realized what she did, and she's going to take responsibility for it and not, try to fight it or anything like that. And then, that's great. Um, because these people that I can understand when if you go in. I mean, we all have the right to a fair trial, and it is up to the prosecution. It's not really about whether we really are guilty or innocent of a crime. It's whether or not the state can prove you committed a crime. And, we have seen innocent people go to jail. We have seen guilty people walk free. We've seen, guilty people never be brought to justice because, there just wasn't enough evidence to prove. We've seen cases where the evidence was strictly, circumstantial. There was no real hard proof that that person committed that crime. I mean, I've seen people sent to death row on circumstantial evidence. And seen, cases of, hard evidence that proved that person was guilty. Watch them people walk free. Yeah. But, it's, it's one thing to go in and plead, not guilty, especially if you're not guilty of a crime. Of course, I'm going to plead not guilty. But, I have seen many times where, all it takes is just a little bit of circumstantial evidence that, makes you look guilty, and seen people convicted. But, if you're guilty, you're guilty. You committed that crime. And in my opinion, if you got balls or boobs big enough to do the crime, then you got balls and boobs big enough to do the time. And, you need to accept responsibility for what you did and face the consequences. I got a whole lot more respect for someone that will admit that they did something wrong as to try and lie about it. And then, you have these people who waste millions of dollars of taxpayer money, trying to say they didn't commit a crime when they damn well did, just like Leilani Simon. No telling how much it cost Chatham County to pay for the search and all that, that went on for baby Quentin. Just that one case alone, just in the 1 month that they spent looking for Quentin. And, they knew when they were looking for him that he was deceased and that she was guilty. But they couldn't arrest her until they found that body. And, her sitting there on the news with them fake ass crocodile tears, just absolutely sickening. And, it's, like I said, if you're big and bad enough to do the crime, then you're big and bad enough to do the time. And this situation with these parents that are killing their kids is just absolutely insane. Just, it has gotten out of control. And then they think that they can, go and report their child missing and, and then, and get away with it. And then they waste, millions of dollars of taxpayer money, searching for a child, and then, when the evidence comes to light that they're, responsible for their death, and then you go through a trial and all that kind of stuff, and that costs the taxpayers of that county, a lot of money. And these people that go out and commit these crimes, I mean, we've all committed a crime to some extent. We've all broke the law. I mean, if you have drove over the speed limit, you have broke the law. You don't necessarily have to go out and commit any kind of horrible crime. If you've just simply ran a stop sign, or driven over the speed limit, you get a ticket and you pay the fine. You suffer the consequences. And but these, I don't, there seems to be an epidemic of filicide going on in this country, and it's horrible. I did a video. You'll have to dig through my videos and find it, but it's a video titled "Monster Moms," and it only scratches the surface of, about 20 or so. I don't remember how many people I covered, but about 15 or 20 mothers who had killed their own children, and a few of them were older cases, but most of them were just current cases. And Justine is on the was one of the mothers, that I covered in it. But if you haven't watched that yet, go and find it on my channel. It's called Monster Moms. It's it's unreal, truly unreal. And yeah, this was one of the cases that was, had happened and been waiting for a year now, with Justine sitting in jail, and just waiting for it all to go to trial. And I check on updates once a week on all these cases that I have that to cover, that these parents are sitting in jail and stuff, and she was one of them. And I'm really glad to know that she did decide to go ahead and plead guilty, and not waste taxpayers' money, and not put her brothers and her family through the horror of a trial. She did have family members there in the courtroom with her when she pled guilty. So I'm thinking of doing 100 female kill. Oh yeah. Well, let me know if you need any help on that, because like I said, I've been covering cases, been following, cases since the late 80s. So, and I've done a lot of study and stuff. So let me know if you need any help on putting that together. I'll sure help you with that. But the one thing that I want to stress about this situation that happened with Justine is that I was on drugs, or I was drunk, or, I was fucked up or whatever, is no excuse. When you drink alcohol, or you take pills, or you do illegal drugs, you are knowingly and consciously making a decision to put something in your body that you know is going to alter your thinking. Whether it just be, a 6-pack of beer. That 6-pack of beer is going to alter your thinking. Whether it's a pain pill, that might make you drowsy. That's why these medications have do not operate heavy machinery when you take this medication. That's why they have these warning labels. So you can't, you don't take a pain pill and then get behind the wheel of a car. You don't drive under the influence of alcohol or any kind of drugs. Now, am I guilty of it? Of course. I mean, I've ashamed to tell you how many times I've driven drunk and been like Granny driving home from the bar, with my head, both hands on the steering wheel and my head literally in the windshield to try and keep it between the yellow lines to get home. And could I have easily killed somebody? Absolutely. And should I suffer the consequences for it? Absolutely. You are knowingly putting a substance into your body that is going to alter your thinking and judgment. So that's no excuse. Now, when you are suffering from paranoid schizophrenia from your own body chemistry, that's a totally different subject. And I did go through a short bout of that back in the 90s. I did not know what was happening to me, didn't realize what was happening to me, but I was having panic attacks in my sleep. And it led to me being afraid to go to sleep, and therefore led to lack of sleep, and and I started having suffer from paranoia, and I knew something was wrong. I consciously knew something was wrong. My mother knew something was wrong, and I went and got help for it. But not everybody does. And, you have some people that their families know they're suffering from paranoid schizophrenia and do nothing about it, which was the case of Andrea Yates. But even in the Andrea Yates case, she knew right from wrong. I mean, if ever there was a case that I have followed other than Travis Reinking, of someone suffering from paranoid schizophrenia and delusions and stuff from their own body chemistry, it was Andrea Yates. But even still, Andrea, is as bad off as she was, knew right from wrong, and even planned the murders of her children. She knew that she had a time frame in which to do what she was going to do, from the time that her husband left to go to work to the time that her mother-in-law was arriving there at the house to babysit her. Not so much the kids, it was more to babysit her, because they knew she was messed up and they were in fear of leaving her alone with the kids. And so in that 30-minute time frame, she drowned her 5 children and then picked up the phone and called 911 and said, I need the police to come to such and such address. I've just killed my kids. So, she knew. Hi, baby Summer. Got baby Summer in the house with me. She knew right from wrong. I covered the Waffle House murders, the Travis Reinking trial last year. And, as messed up and paranoid and delusional as he was, he still knew right from wrong. So, that's why even, mental illness is, we're seeing a lot of crimes being committed, and it's all getting blamed on mental illness. But even in the most severe mental illness cases, the people still knew right from wrong. That is something that we are taught literally from birth, is right and wrong. And do any of y'all actually remember when someone actually taught you that it was wrong to take another person's life? I don't remember. It's just something that just kind of always grew up knowing. But it's just a sad situation, and a lot of people don't realize that it's not necessarily so much mental illness it is that we're being brainwashed by the media. I see so much of that going on. So much of, brainwashing, literally brainwashing done by the media itself, telling us what to think and how to feel, and what our opinions should be on this matter or that matter, and people forget, that we have we have free will thinking, and that we have the free will to think and believe and whatever we want to, and have whatever opinions we want to about something. But yet there are people out here that will just straight up argue with you. Yes, exactly. Public schools, they're, now it's being done to our children and stuff, and it's just it's crazy. We hear about all this government conspiracy stuff, about MK Ultra and all that. MK Ultra is not a government conspiracy. It's alive and well right now. Right out, it's alive and well out here on Fox News and CNN and, you know, everywhere it's being done. It's called brainwashing. And that is why we have, I feel that we, are seeing such an uprise in all these mass shootings and stuff. And then, people want to blame it on mental illness. No, it's not mental illness, it's brainwashing. It's straight up brainwashing. MK Ultra, Adolf Hitler, brainwashing. And it's our very media that's doing it. You agree, Summer? Well, I do too, honey. Well, now that little baby Summer has given her 2 cents worth about it. Does anybody have any questions about the Justine Johnson case or anything? I'm still not you have to go, what, I have to get new conspiracy theories. All mine have been exactly. We're all now we're seeing this sudden, and all these balloons and stuff that are being shot down and all that. I don't know what's going on. Either the aliens are coming or we're fixing to head to World War III. I haven't made up my mind yet. If them aliens do come, though, they better pick me up and take me back with them, because I don't like it here no more. So anyway, but y'all, that's really about all I have for tonight. Like I said, I'm still not feeling very well, and also I'm going to call it an early night. Gosh, it's 8:30 on a Friday night. This would be about the time I'd just be getting in the shower and getting ready to go out to the bar. So yeah, definitely. Well, I just want to thank y'all so much for coming over, Nano and Pam. It matters, and remain calm. Thank y'all for participating in the chat, and for those of you who have just listened in or been listening via Twitter, please come and subscribe to me here on YouTube, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you know when I do go live or upload a new video. And help me get in this thing they call the algorithm so I can grow my show and do what I love to do, and that is talk about true crime. So with that in mind, everyone have a wonderful night. And as always, here at the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, our motto is to be the change that you wish to see in this world. As Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. Peace out. Good night, everyone.
What's happening, y'all? If you're looking for a fab true crime podcast, then get up off of that thing and boogie on over to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, where we give you the lowdown on all things true crime. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Catch you on the flip side.